Open the story up for debate this evening. Let's first give you an overview of this case about Senthil and the charges that he is being alleged for. Now, in 2014, he served as the transport minister under the AIADMK tenure. So that's when these allegations date back to. Now, the aides took cash from job aspirants. That's the allegation that came to light in 2014. How did that happen? The cash for jobs was in the transport corruption also, and what had happened that as he served as a transport minister, these stories began to come to light. Now 2014 itself, recruitments, delays and elections were cited as the reason for not really providing the job for which money really was taken. Another allegation, 2016, the aspirants sought return of their money because it was 2 years since they were waiting for the jobs. They had already given the cash for the job, the seat that was promised to them. However, nothing really was done. There was no movement in that regard. Now, in 2016 itself, the distraught aspirants filed a litigation. That's where it all began, and trouble started mounting for Senthil Balaji. 2018, 4 complaints against DMK's Balaji and aides were registered with the police. That had happened in 2018. There was also an FIR for the criminal breach of trust and also intimidation and cheating. These were the charges that were filed against Senthil Balaji. Now, later in 2021, the aspirants approached the High Court. In fact, what had happened was that Senthil Balaji and his team went on to approach the High Court to quash the FIRs. This was after the FIRs was launched against him. And that's when, in the fag end of 2021, is when the ED stepped in. The Enforcement Directorate registered 4 cases and named Balaji as an accused. So this was where it all started with the Enforcement Directorate. Then comes 2022, where there was High Court that was moved against the summons by the ED. And this went into the favor of Senthil Balaji as he was granted that quashing of the ED summons. 2022, High Court quashed and stayed the FIRs, quashed the summons as well. So there was some sort of victory for Senthil Balaji. But later, in 2022 itself, the Enforcement Directorate moved Supreme Court, challenging the Madras High Court order. Now, what did the Supreme Court do? May 2023, the Supreme Court refused to discharge the minister in the cash for job scam. So right now, what is happening is that this is the case that is being monitored by the Supreme Court. It has been given a go-ahead by the Supreme Court, and that's why the ED is proceeding with the charges. Let me now bring in my guests on the broadcast. Khushbu Sundar is an actor and leader of the BJP, is joining us. Also joining us is TKS Ellen Govan of the DMK. With us also on the broadcast is senior journalist S. Murari, and also with us is Kasturi Shankar. Welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being a part of this discussion. Now Khushbu, I'll begin with you. The fact that this entire drama is being played out, of course there was an overnight arrest in the wee hours that had happened, and later Senthil Balaji was taken to the hospital because he complained of chest pain. The accusation that the BJP is facing, and also right now the entire misuse of central agencies dialogue is once again back with the opposition really united. How does the BJP choose to respond to that?
There's nothing to respond because they do not understand these orders were given. The allegations against Mr. Senthil Balaji started long ago, before he joined DMK. And after he joined DMK, there were many allegations against him. Even when the electricity was a problem in DMK, the allegations were against Mr. Senthil Balaji. And this is an action, ED enforcement action is taken at the nod of the Supreme Court. So I do not understand. ED in fact was actually brought down by the SC, asking that why the earlier the earlier corruption charges were not looked into it properly, and why is that there was so much of lethargy and a lapse in the allegations against him in the investigations. So this has come directly from the Supreme Court, and it has nothing to do with the party at all.
Okay, Mr. Ellen Govan, the fact that DKS, I beg your pardon, the DMK is going about calling this entire arrest as unlawful. Why unlawful is my big question, because it's a Supreme Court directed probe where the ED is progressing. Why unlawful?
The charges were made in the year 2014. That is what you say. But for which they are going into the secretariat today. When Senthil Balaji was a minister in the Jayalalitha government, you are going to the secretariat today and searching his office means, what is the logic behind it? See, the procedures had started way back in 2014 and the High Court had made a settlement. After that, they had appealed, the ED had appealed
But that
to the
was
Supreme Court.
squashed by
and
the
they got
Supreme
ordered.
Court.
But
Yeah.
what is the necessity for going? What is the necessity for going to the secretariat today and searching his office when the matter was closed way back in 2004? It started in 2014. What you do is, what we see is, you are only
I'll come to you, Khushbu.
concentrating on people of the opposition party states. Then you are what happened to the fighters, the boxers, women? Why you are not taking any action on that MP?
No, let's stick
You
to
target only
the current
opposition
case at
party
hand,
leaders.
Mr. Ellen Govan. Mr. Ellen Govan, I'd like to understand
Yeah,
this
yeah,
one
I
thing.
understand.
We're talking about the 2014 case. Let's talk about what has been the DMK stand. In
Yes.
turn, the current Chief Minister, MK Stallin's stand. We were just presented that video evidence by the BJP state chief, Annamalai, where he had accused
the approach
MK...
of the ED.
Yeah, no, I just want to understand that. MK
I'll tell
Stalin
you.
himself had accused Senthil Balaji of corruption back then when AIADMK was in power. So why the change of stance now? Just because he's an important minister in the cabinet doesn't
That is
take
not
away
the
from the
change of
fact
stance.
that he is not laced with corruption cases.
No. My charge is that why the ED should go to his office today when the occurrence had happened way back 10 years back. Why are they going today and investigating his
I'd
office?
let Khushbu Sundar
I don't know
respond.
why.
Yes,
What is the
all right.
reason?
Khushbu, please go ahead.
Telangan sir, with all due respect to you, the charges were there in 2014. So as a transport minister, if the allegations are against him as a transport minister, let them do their job. What difference it makes? Today, if he has moved the party and is moved into DMK and is one of your cabinet ministers, how does the laws and how does the accusation change overnight? That cannot change. He was accused of taking bribe. He was accused of taking money. The ED enforcement has done the probe earlier. Then the Supreme Court has knocked them on their head and said that you cannot do it. The probe was not done properly. You have to do it again. And they are here. Even if it's a 2014 charges, I think you should take it head on. If you're not guilty, if you're not scared that your minister has done mistake, I think you should take it head on and say it is 2014 case. He was the minister then in AIDMK. Let the law takes its course. Why is that everybody is jumping into defense? And I do not understand in what way Balaji's corruption charges has to do with the restless sitting in Delhi.
My question is, with what material did the ED went to Supreme Court?
Sir, they have the material.
They had the
That's why they're
material
going.
already. If they had the material, why should they go to the secretariat and search today?
Sir,
They want to insult the state
tell
government.
you the material
Okay, Mr. Ellen Govan, is that your only worry at the moment? Why has the arrest happened from the state secretariat? Let me actually bring in Khushbu Sundar at the moment. Khushbu, there was a very, very peculiar stance that the AIADMK really put forth today. There was a press conference by DMK Palaniswamy. He is trying to absolve AIADMK from the situation where Senthil Balaji has landed himself into. But the entire fact is that he was the transport minister under the AIADMK regime. So what does one make of the statement by EPS?
Nothing at all. He moved on with Mr. Dinakaran and then he came back to DMK. What I am saying is EPS is at least taking a stance and saying that he was minister under AIADMK. Now let them take its own course. The accusations are there. He's not part of AIADMK anymore. So they're ready. If there is any kind of misdeed done as a minister under AIADMK regime, then they're ready to take it head on. Why is it DMK is running away from this entire fiasco and say that we have nothing to do with it, but this is a part of vengeance? I mean, what is there? ED works independently. Why is it that they want to push it on BJP? They have nothing to argue. Why are they pushing it on BJP? Why are they just putting it on the heads?
But I still want to understand what has been the AIADMK stand. How does one read it? Kasturi Shankar, I'd want your opinion on this. What do you make of the statement that's been coming from the AIADMK, especially when it was a minister under their regime when the corruption really hit the party? Kasturi, I think you need to unmute yourself, Kasturi.
Yeah, there we go. This is a very paradoxical situation I'm seeing in Tamil Nadu today, something we don't see very often, wherein a minister accused of graft under the previous regime is being washed off. The ADMK is almost virtually washing their hands off him. They're saying, we have nothing to do with him, and therefore we have insinuation, we have nothing to do with that corruption anymore. They are kind of trying to distance themselves from Mr. Senthil Balaji as well as his corruption charges. And at the same time, the DMK, which really has nothing to do, and Mr. Ilangovan is here, somebody I respect very much. Hello, sir. It's very surprising that the DMK has really nothing to do with this particular action by the ED, because this doesn't relate to their regime at all. They can actually come out and say that, but for some reason they're not saying that. They feel responsible for Mr. Senthil Balaji, and they have gone.
But Kasturi, why should they not? We're talking about their minister at the moment. He is a minister under the DMK administration now.
They seem to be responsible for him. So I kind of feel that the DMK government right now and the leaders that seem to need Mr. Senthil Balaji. It almost feels like, I'm just saying this, it almost feels like they don't want him in a place where he can be interrogated, in a place where he can spill the beans about the corruption from 2014 or from 2023, who knows? Okay. Because that is the whole scandal going on in Tamil Nadu right now, is about the Tasmac scandal, about the 23 people who died of illicit liquor, and then all the details that came out, including the 10 rupee per bottle scandal. Yes. So there is a lot of stuff that perhaps DMK doesn't want Mr. Senthil Balaji in any kind of custody.
Okay.
That is
I will ask the Tasmac bit to Mr. Ilangovan in just a bit. Thank you so much for raising that point, Kasturi. But let me bring in Mr. S. Murari. He's been patiently listening to all your opinions. Mr. Murari, you have a vantage over here. You have seen where do the political parties who are the top players in Tamil Nadu, where do they actually stand on this issue? Who has diverted from the stance from where it was in 2016, 2014. How do you see the standoff, especially AIADMK, under which regime this corruption is being talked about, considering EPS has very, very gleefully come out in the open and distanced AIADMK from this entire situation, this entire fiasco, as if AIADMK has nothing to do with the cash for jobs scam?
You're all missed a major point. Corruption, yes. Investigation is AD the agency. AD is concerned only with the money laundering aspect of corruption, ill-gotten money.
Yes.
Corruption comes under the Prevention of Corruption Act. He is a public figure, MLA or MP or minister. He could have been prosecuted by the central agency or even by the state agency for that matter, the ESC. They have not done that. ED is the arm of the central government being blatantly misused. It's not the first time. Endless interrogation by whether it's by, in this case, or Sisodia, or Rahul Gandhi, and the Shivakumar, whoever is the opposition. Can you show one instance of ED moving against any of the ruling party in the last since 2014? 40% corruption was what they said about Karnataka ministers. How many ministers were interrogated by the ED? This is political vendetta. That is the only aspect I'm talking about. Okay. As far as the ED is concerned, money laundering is concerned, it's a financial crime. If any ill-gotten money is there, they can seize the assets. Even Binami properties they can ask. There was what has happened in this case was he went for a morning walk and he came back and the ED was already at his doors and he told the reporters it's not fair to make them wait. Go there or fully cooperate with them. Last time also when they raided, gave a panchnama, whatever they had recorded. This time also I hope they will do that. I am fully to cooperate. I have nothing to hide. That's the attitude of this event in. After 17 hours, at 1:30 in the morning, they say he is arrested. Under what section? There should be transparency. Any human right, any violation, transparency. I am reminded of what happened to David's son, Sam Swami. 82-year man, dubbed as an urban Naxal and then connected with the case in Goregaon and Pune. He was not even allowed to give straw to drink his water. and he was not even given bail, and he died in jail. It's a shame. This is not at the same scale because political parties, others. D. Shivakumar also gone to jail on the same thing.
Let me bring in Khushbu Sundar back.
Political purposes.
Khushbu, this is the allegation by not just the opposition. One of the journalists on the panel is also claiming that tactics to silence the opposition. If I go by the data till September 2022, 90% of the opposition leaders have been targeted and implicated by the Enforcement Directorate, none whatsoever when it comes to BJP leaders. That is the allegation that comes every now and then whenever there is an ED action now on opposition.
It's very simple when you look at it. Before 2014, all we have seen is corruption. And all the charges, what you see, the leaders have been facing today, if they happen to be in opposition, it's their wrongdoing. People have voted BJP to power, not once, but twice. And ED has nothing to do with the central government. It's an independent body. So we are talking about corruption. We are talking about corruption-free country. The first major thing what Prime Minister Modi did was corruption-free country. And this is what we are working on. We have been raising questions that all these corruption charges were laid out and what action has been taken. So if these ministers are facing the brunt, if they're facing the music, it's because the corruption charges which were levied on them. Now the ED, because they know this government means business. You need to produce what you have started. You just can't go back and say that the charges were levied.
Why did the ED only step in
and let them go free hand, let them go scot-free? No.
Khushbu, why did the ED only step in 2021? Yes.
Why no BJP member is, levied with corruption charges? Because there is no corruption. Please let one opposition in 2000, before 2014.
S. Murari also talked about the 40% corruption in Karnataka. At the risk of digressing, 40% corruption in Karnataka.
Yes.
Here. So,
it
cannot be a blanket statement, Khushbu, that BJP leaders do not have any corruption allegations, but we will digress from the...
Okay. Let the ED take the probe.
Let's talk about Senthil. Okay, let's talk about Senthil. This is a case that dates back to 2014. Why did the ED step into action only in 2021 as he switched sides from the AMMK to DMK?
He switched side in 2018. So why would ED wait for 3 years?
So why 2021 is why?
When is the Supreme Court got on ED's head and said that you need to probe into it. So is the opposition trying to say?
But Khushbu, the ED had already started the probe, which was quashed by the Madras High Court. That is the time.
Madras High Court?
Yeah.
Right? Why is it 2021 they started? Why is it they're coming for ED raid, money laundering case? Why are they coming now in 2023?
Yes.
Can you please tell me that does Supreme Court, is the opposition trying to insult the apex court and say that Supreme Court is controlled by the government of India? Are they insulting the Supreme Court? Are they insulting the biggest law system what we have in our country? What are they trying to prove?
Okay, Mr. Alan Govan, I'd like your word here. This is the response that has come in from the BJP. As far as the claim of misuse of central agencies, this is what their stand is. You are saying it shouldn't have been done in a haste, and that too from the state secretariat. Journalist S. Murari is also mentioning something similar. Do we know about the charges under which the CD arrest has happened, and now a 14-day custody also?
This question is to me.
No, what my question is, when they had gone to Supreme Court.
Yes.
When the ED went to Supreme Court, they might have produced some materials. What I say is, going to the secretariat today and investigating a case where he may not be even be using that room at that time in 2014 or 16. So they are trying to do something against the DMK. There are many cases. 4 people were killed. Kalburgi and a reporter, senior journalist from Karnataka. 4 people were killed immediately when the BJP came to power. What happened to those cases? 12 people are suffering in the prison.
Money laundering. We're talking about ED, sir.
Bhima Gora is
let him make his point. Please let him make his point.
Why are you combining cases of wrestlers? What happened in Kalburgi case? Why are you mixing it up?
One second, let him make his point.
Yes.
Then you can respond.
They were killed. What is the government doing? Those who spoke against BJP were killed.
Sir, please.
Why not action? No action.
Mr. Alan Govan, let's talk about the charges that you think Senthil Balaji has been slapped with by the ED, and that's why the 14-day judicial custody also has been granted. What do you think has happened in this particular case?
The ED had investigated. They might have gone to court saying that the High Court has erred only because of the material which they had. So when they have a material, let them proceed. Why should they go and investigate the state secretariat to insult the present government? That is, their intention is to insult the present government and make them before the public that this government is corrupt.
Khushbu, quickly on this. This is the first time. This is the first time there is a sitting minister. Khushbu, let me ask my question. Khushbu, let me ask my question. This is the first time that a sitting minister has been taken out of Fort St. George, the seat of power in Tamil Nadu. It has never before happened. It is unprecedented. That's what the Chief Minister of the state also mentioned today. Why do you think that urgency really was there to take him into custody from the state secretariat? If that's the argument that the DMK is making, let the BJP respond to it, please.
No, there's nothing BJP has to respond. The ED has to respond. These questions, what the DMK people are asking BJP, they should be asking ED. Why is it they're asking questions to BJP? What does BJP has to do with Senthil Balaji's arrest? It is not the central government, it is the enforcement department, directorate, which has arrested Mr. Senthil Balaji. BJP has not arrested Senthil Balaji. And if whatever the questions the DMK has, including the Honorable Chief Minister, he should raise the question against ED. If they have all the proofs to prove that Mr. Senthil Balaji is not at fault, let them raise the questions to ED and not to BJP. Why is that BJP has been pulled in? In what way BJP is involved?
Okay.
Is BJP
Mr. Ellen Govind, what has been the DMK stance? Do you feel that Senthil Balaji has been implicated without any basis? No, Mr. Ellen Govind, I want to understand this. What has been the DMK stance?
Our charge is that the BJP government is misusing all the agencies under their control against the opposition parties in the country where in the opposition ruled states. That is where all these things are happening.
I'm sorry,
where there was a heavy charge of corruption.
Ilangovan sir, I have a lot of respect for you, sir. Please don't make such statements. Please don't make such statements.
Mr. Ellen Govind, all right. Mr. Ellen Govind, let me ask you one thing. When the case was before the Madras High Court, why was a plea being put to get in a compromise formula? That ended up weakening the case for Senthil Balaji. And of course, it was termed as an admission of guilt. Why was that done? If at all there was no truth to these corruption charges.
No, what? I am not going into the charges. My question is, when the ED has taken up and they had gone to Supreme Court without proper material, how will the Supreme Court have...
No, Mr. Ellen Govind, just answer this question first. Why was this compromise formula really floated into the Madras High Court?
When they have all these materials, why should go to the state secretariat and investigate?
No, you are making the same point. We are going about in circles, Mr. Ellen Govind. I really want to understand what is the DMK stance on the corruption allegations, the money laundering allegation against Senthil Balaji. Your minister, we understand that he holds a lot of clout, especially on his home turf and in most portions of Tamil Nadu. But what is the DMK stance? It's important to understand where does MK Stalin and DMK really stand on the allegations against Senthil Balaji.
No. Senthil Balaji had clearly categorically stated that he will face it. He will face any charge of ED. So he is bold enough. The only thing is that the way the ED is approaching, acting, entering
Let's
into
also
the state
understand this one thing.
Permission.
Got that
all
point,
these
sir.
things.
Got that point, sir. Let's come back to the point that Kasturi was making on the Tasmac issue. It has been raised by the BJP and the claims are being made that the DMK is very, very wary that the ED will go ahead and pursue cases against the DMK vis-a-vis Tasmac. Allegations by the BJP also happened in the name of the DMK state chief, Mr. Annamalai, where he said that what was gained out of Tasmac by charging extra on liquor bottles, all of that went into the coffers of the DMK first family. How do you respond to those charges, sir?
No, these are all charges he is making. He has given a list of properties which they were doing, they have gained from their own business and which was admitted in the election nomination during nomination, and he takes out. He did not mention that these properties had come out of corruption. He did not make such a statement. He is withdrawing from it. He has not proved anything. He only mentioned a list of charges, and whatever he speaks, we can't. In fact, we don't understand what he means.
Okay.
Sometimes he speaks
So we'll ask
something which is
Khushbu
irrelevant and
Khushbu,
illogical.
what did Annamalai mean when he said that because of the Tasmac case, there was a worry within the DMK, and he also made a big allegation that all the money that came from Tasmac is going into the DMK coffers? What did he mean by that?
No, I couldn't get you. I lost you in between.
I wanted to understand the allegations that Annamalai has made over Tasmac case, which also concerns the current Excise Minister Senthil Balaji. He has also said that the money that was coming in from the liquor sale was all going into the DMK coffers.
I'm sure with Mr. Annamalai speaking those lines, he will have the proofs because he doesn't speak without proofs. Until unless he doesn't have a solid proof, he will not go make those statements. So I'm sure that when we were talking about corruption charges against DMK, they denied it, and then we produced the audio of Mr. PTR, who accepted that 30,000 crores is what is being made by DMK in the last 2 years. So we talk with the proof in hand. We don't talk without a proof. They are not just allegations or accusations. We speak with proof in our hand.
Okay.
And
Mr. Murari, let me actually bring you in here because I am very short on time now. I want to understand this one aspect. This Tasmac case, do you think it is biting the DMK hard? Do you think the allegations that are coming in from the opposition in the state has a constructive argument?
Yes, absolutely. That is point in the argument that every bottle 10 rupees or more they are charging, and he is in charge of the Excise Ministry. There might have been corruption, there might have been decision going on. Tasmac has been the den of corruption, and it is a source of money for all the politicians and all others. That is a fact. And they had to scale down the number of shops, but it is a cash cow. More than 30,000 crores they are getting as a
revenue. So do you think this will be a bigger worry for the DMK? With Senthil Balaji's arrest,
they may have got benefit from that.
Mr. Murari, with Senthil Balaji's arrest, do you think this is going to be a huge worry for the DMK because of this?
No, I don't think that you can connect the dot. Annamalai has just made a vague statement as a concrete proof that's been made to Sabarisan or whoever it is, first family. That connection is very difficult to prove.
Okay.
But I am talking
Kasturi, your last word on this. Do you think these two things can be connected? Considering there is one case of money. Yeah, Mr. Murari, I'll come back to you. Yes, Kasturi, please.
1 second.
Yes, I think at least the central government, at least the investigative agencies will definitely try to, if not make the connect, at least corroborate evidence against the first family of Tamil Nadu and against the corruption allegations that have gained a lot of momentum in the state against several ministers, primary of the lot being Mr. Senthil Balaji himself, not just in Tasmac, also in electricity, also in the 2014 case. So he is in a kind of a fix now, and I'm sure not just the ED, but every kind of investigation will be carried out in order to unearth as much detail as possible. This the ruling party will do. As Mr. Murari said, yes, the ruling party, this is not a one-way street. Whenever ruling party is there, the opposition has to face the heat. Mr. Yediyurappa, as soon as he lost power in Karnataka, he was also put in jail for the land scam in Karnataka.
Mr. Let me get in Mr. Ellen Govind for the last word.
Let me also remind that Mayawati ji, Yediyurappa, Lalu Prasad Yadav, whoever is in the opposition has to face the heat from the ruling party. In that case, it was the
Kasturi, I'm really sorry. We have very little time now left. I want to give the last word to Mr. Ellen Govind. Mr. Ellen Govind, there was a controversy not very long back between the BJP and the AIADMK concerning J. Lalita. Do you think that alliance was in trouble, and this particular episode with Senthil Balaji is sort of helping them get back? Because obviously there was a clear rift that was laid wide open because of the claims that Annamalai had made over corruption charges during J. Lalita's regime.
Yeah. See, Jayalalitha had openly stated that they will not have any truck with the ADMK at one point of time during the 2014 elections. And she stood by that. But now, since the present ADMK leaders are at the mercy of the BJP, they will do anything, and Annamalai was also severely criticized by the ADMK, some of the ADMK leaders for his comments. See, Annamalai makes certain statements just to attack people or just to put pressure on the opposition parties.
All right. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us on the broadcast. I'm really sorry, I am very short of time now, so I'd have to wrap this debate.